Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. Now that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 has officially released, I think it's safe to say that a lot of us have started to turn our attention towards Marvel's Wolverine, as it is, at least for us here at Lunar Squadron, one of our most anticipated upcoming games in the near future. Well, over the past weekend, there was actually a lot of speculation about a potential release date reveal thanks to a concept artist who claims to have worked on the upcoming Wolverine game. And today we're going to break down everything that we know and what it could possibly mean for the game going forward. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always. And the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. Now with that out of the way, Andreas, are you ready to talk about Insomniac's next AAA title?
Oh yeah, let's do this, guys. It has been over 2 years since Wolverine was officially announced alongside the announcement of Spider-Man 2, and now hot off the heels of the release of Spider-Man 2, a lot of us are wondering, when are we going to get our hands on Wolverine, and when are we going to see a little bit of what this studio is working on? When are we going to see a trailer? When are we going to hear any news about this game? And so I know a lot of people are grasping it at anything and everything to get more information on that, and I think nothing encapsulates this phenomenon more perfectly than this Push Square article that recaps this whole saga recently of this ArtStation profile and how people are thinking that this is somehow a release date. So let's just walk through all of this and generally talk about what we think is actually going on here. So this article is titled, PS5 fans think they've found Marvel's Wolverine's release year and it could be close. And the pertinent section of this article begins by saying, the speculation comes courtesy of a concept artist's ArtStation profile, which doesn't make it the most reliable source. However, industry commentator Jeff Grubb has speculated in the past that the anticipated exclusive may be targeting 2024, although he suggests it could eventually be pushed into 2025. It certainly sounds like the studio could be aiming for a launch next year if possible. So if you guys turn to this individual's ArtStation website, you can see the productions that he's worked on, and the first production listed is Marvel's Wolverine, and it says that he is a concept artist at Volta, a keyword studio, and a date is listed. It just says 2024 video game. Not a lot of information to go off of here, and just like the Push Square article mentioned, Nick, this is an ArtStation profile after all. It is not an official release or official announcement out of Insomniac by any stretch of the imagination. Nick, just how tenuous is this?
I think it is incredibly. I don't think this is any sort of revelation that this game will be officially released in 2024. I think it's something that we're all hopeful is going to be the case, but I've seen a lot of people, especially on Twitter and just on the internet over this weekend, when they saw this, that said that this means that this game is set to come out in 2024, and I just don't think that is the case. I hope it is the case, and it does sound like, you know, what we've heard from Jeff Grubb in the past and some of the rumors and just the overall timeline and how Insomniac has worked and operated over the last few years. If they get this game out in 2024, it would not surprise me. Honestly, I think it's something they're incredibly capable of doing. If it does happen, I do think it would be a late 2024 release. I don't think we're talking about the first half of the next year. I think we're talking about like that October to December, kind of that holiday window, if they do get this game out next year. But realistically, I'm not expecting this game until 2025. And the fact that a concept artist who claims to have worked on this game, which is something that honestly we can't even confirm that if this is true or not yet, has it listed on his resume or his portfolio as 2024, doesn't make me feel any more confident or assured that this game is for sure coming in 2024, because, you know, he could have heard something through the grapevine that wasn't actually true, or perhaps he had just read the speculation from some of these industry insiders and was like, oh, okay, I'll just list it as 2024 because it probably asks for a date. So I don't take this as any sort of confirmation that this game is for sure coming in 2024 at all. But we do have the Game Awards coming up next month, and it would be nice, now that we know Insomniac is turning their attention kind of fully towards Marvel's Wolverine as their next big AAA studio release, it would be nice to start hearing more about this game at least. I don't know if that is going to happen at the Game Awards. I don't expect a trailer or anything like that, but it just would be nice to hear Insomniac tell us a little more about this game, because to be honest with you, we don't know a whole lot about this game. We don't know for sure where it takes place. We have a feeling it takes place in Madripoor. There was a ton of references in the reveal trailer for this game. There was a ton of references to Madripoor in Marvel Spider-Man 2. We know it takes place in the exact same universe as Spider-Man 2, but we don't know when it takes place. We've heard it's going to be in that semi-open world God of War style gameplay. We don't know a whole lot about this game, so it would just be nice to start off by learning more about this game, how it's going to work, how it's going to operate, where it's going to take place, when it's going to take place, just basic details like that. It would be nice to see Insomniac just open up a little bit more about this game in the near future before we even get a release date. I would just like to learn more about this game. So I'm kind of hoping those are the next steps for this game. But 2024, to be honest with you, Andres, to kind of get back to the point of this, knowing what we know about Insomniac, it is totally something they are capable of doing, but it does feel like a little bit of a stretch, especially since they just dropped Spider-Man 2 in late 2023 to turn around and have another huge AAA title ready just a year later. It's asking an awful lot of a studio.
It is definitely asking a lot of this studio, but on that same note, Nick, and I think you'd agree with me on this point, if there's any studio that could pull this off, I think Insomniac would be the studio that you would have confidence in pulling this off, mainly because of their track record. And if you look at Insomniac's resume here, that gives me a little more confidence on this release timeline than this one individual's resume, because if we look at Insomniac, we see a history of a very dense release schedule and very quick turnarounds when it comes to announcing games and then those games eventually coming out. So this game upcoming, the Wolverine game, will be developed by the team that spearheaded Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank, and both of those were smaller scale projects than what I believe this Wolverine game will be. I'm assuming that this Wolverine game will be pushing the envelope for Insomniac, that it will be of the scale and size and scope of something like Spider-Man or God of War. I would hope that that's what they aspire to achieve with this Wolverine game. That was not quite the case with Miles Morales, just being a more limited experience, and with Ratchet and Clank being a more limited experience. But if you look at the turnarounds for those games, those were both announced in June 2020, and then Miles Morales was only released 4 months later, and Ratchet and Clank was a year later in June 2021. So Wolverine, being announced all the way back in 2021 now, has been worked on and is now the focal point of this Insomniac team. It is their first priority. That is going to be what Sony up from high is going to be pressuring them to complete. And on that same note, Nick, if we look overall at the Sony release schedule coming up in the future, we have a lot of question marks. Recently, we got news that a whole slew of live service games are going to be pushed beyond their originally anticipated release window of fiscal year 2025. And so I'm looking at a Sony that is going to be pushing first-person experiences. And when you look at all of the different studios on the table for Sony, they have a lot of options to fill that void. But I would be looking at Insomniac, a consistent deliverer of quality games in a quality length of time. And I would assume that the studio is capable of meeting that release window.
Oh, absolutely. Insomniac is fully aware that we want to learn more about Wolverine. They've been asked about it multiple times over the past few weeks, and they've kind of punted the football a little bit. You know, Bryan Intihar was asked directly about Wolverine showing up in a crossover with Spider-Man, and he literally said, why don't we just let the Wolverine team cook and let them do what they are going to do and put forth the best experience possible? So Insomniac is totally aware that we are dying to learn more about this game, but how I think this is going to go, Andreas, is I think we're going to hear about Spider-Man 2 DLC first, whatever they choose to do, whether that is a Daredevil, a Carnage, a Chameleon, whatever they choose to do. I have a feeling the next handful of months will be dedicated towards Spider-Man 2 DLC, learning more about it, getting that pushed out to the players, and then I will expect to hear something about Marvel's Wolverine probably sometime next summer, around the same time that we heard about Marvel Spider-Man 2 this year. It was around, that May, June-ish time slot is when we finally learned more about Spider-Man 2 and kind of got a gameplay reveal trailer and all of that stuff, and the blog articles started showing up in the interviews. That's kind of what I'm expecting for Wolverine. But I'm just hoping we get our hands on this game soon, and I just hope we learn more about this game soon because it is one of our most anticipated game. I absolutely love Wolverine. He's one of my all-time favorite characters, and I'm just excited we're even getting a Wolverine game in the first place. So guys, let us know down below your thoughts on Wolverine. This is really the first time that we've been able to sit down and had a dedicated conversation to this game. What do you think it's going to be like? What do you think the gameplay style is going to be like? Where do you think it's going to be set? Will it be in Madripoor? What time period do you think this game will take place? And do you take any stock in this concept artist's resume about where he posts this game is listed for 2024? Does that make you honestly believe this game is for sure coming next year? Or do you think it will be coming in sometime 2025 and God forbid it doesn't come later than that, like 26? We're hoping 24, 25 at the latest. But let us know your thoughts on this game because it is a game that we are incredibly excited for and one that we are very much looking forward to covering for the foreseeable future on this channel. This is just the beginning of our coverage for this game, so definitely excited for all of this and excited to hear what you guys have to say. But that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.